I think it's a nice time to begin. Well, firstly, obviously, welcome everyone to our Talking Talent webinar, which is on the topic of engineering without fear, when to hire the right CTO for your startup. So welcome any first-time joiners, and for those who have joined us earlier, welcome back. What I would love to do before we sort of dive deep into the conversations with our speakers, I'd love to introduce Talking Talent and a little bit about what it is we're trying to achieve here. So Talking Talent is a community that creates kind of a space to talk around hiring within the startup world. This is really for everybody involved, where there's some form of hiring within your responsibility. What we love about the fact is that it brings together a different community of people, from whether they're in HR fields or going right through to obviously fractional CTOs, CEOs, founders, and so forth. And when you join, you get a nice access to our network of leaders, updates on our events, a monthly newsletter, which highlights some of our challenges when it comes to hiring, and also access to the Slack community channel we have. So that's a bit about that. What I'd love to just quickly explain is we're going to run through some sort of brief icebreakers, go through an introductions from our panelists, and then dive into the deeper conversation. So what we'll start off with is, I think, a really nice little icebreaker for everyone. So this is an open question to our three panelists. What's the best recruiting advice you've ever received? I don't know, maybe we'll start with Neville. How about Neville jump in there? I think you're muted. Or is it unmuted? I'm not sure. If anyone else, oh, there you go, Neville. I can hear you.
Okay, there we go. Well, the best recruiting advice I've ever received is don't hire out of desperation, because you'll come back to that decision and you'll regret it. So I think that basically, I have to say, having seen it a couple of times already in my own experience, yeah, that was basically the best recruiting advice I've ever received.
Cool. No, that's good. I think that's important, isn't it, to think about that. Payman, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I had to really think about that, to be honest. Like, I think one of my former bosses told me like to do really interviews one-on-one and not so much into the group, to have really an own kind of perspective on this person, and then share these kind of insights in a later stage. Otherwise, you're biased already from the interviews before.
And that's interesting. We'll talk about some of that a bit later on, about some of the mistakes maybe going into this process, but that's an interesting one to raise. And Heather, any thoughts on this one as well as an icebreaker?
Hi, everyone. I've done a lot of recruitment. I've used to work for big corporate organizations, and the best advice I always ever given is to hire for passion. So if you see a CV and you think that doesn't really fit, to kind of go with the wild cards. Because if somebody's taken the passion and drive to apply for that role, maybe there's something that's not on that paper that you're missing. And honestly, that I've had some of my best hires kind of picking the ones where the CV didn't quite fit and it had something weird on it. So yeah, but I also agree with the other two. Like, those are also pieces of advice I often give people.
No, brilliant. I like that. That's three really really helpful pieces, actually, advice for anyone in this sort of circumstance. Thank you very much. So I'd love to obviously move on to sort of an introduction for our three guest speakers today. And obviously, firstly, an enormous thanks for all three of you for taking the time out of your schedules. What I'll do is I'll have a quick introduction to myself, and then we'll go around the room. So obviously, I'm Josh. I'm one of the senior executive talent partners here at Accelerate. I've been in recruitment for about 7.5 years now, working across a range of sort of sectors, specializations, and regions. The last 4.5 years has been really heavily in the executive search area as well. And in our executive team here at Accelerate, I head up all of the technical hiring, technical and product hiring, I should say, within the executive and C-suite. Going back a long time before that, I was also a teacher overseas in China, which is actually where I started my career. But that's just a very brief bit about me. And over to who's next on my screen. Over to you, Heather. You're next.
Hi, I'm Heather Payne. I'm founder and CEO of Toast 91. Toast 91 is a conversational AI platform helping vulnerable children, to start off with, to help find the information that they need to access the support around them. I'm also a fractional CTO, so I'm bootstrapping my startup at the moment. So I pay to live by working as a fractional CTO. And interestingly, I'm actually hiring a CTO for Toast 91. So I feel like I'm on all sides of this question. So I can give you my insights as a CTO and equally as a CEO trying to hire a CTO. And all of it is challenging. So yeah, I welcome any questions at the end on either side.
Thank you, Heather. Payman, over to you.
Sure. So hi everyone, my name is Payman. I help mainly startups to overcome some kind of growing pain in the area of product and technology. So I'm often hired as an advisor or also like a fractional CTO. Originally, I'm a software engineer, but in the last like 4 or 5 years, I moved more and more into that direction to help other startups. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Hello, everyone. My name is Devin China, and I'm CEO of Invisible Foods. And at Invisible Foods, we basically use technology to help rescue food waste at scale. And in terms of food, we're talking about especially fresh fruits and vegetables. And our clients are mainly wholesalers that are purchasing from farmers and selling to retailers. And so, you know, this little part of food that we don't see that goes to waste is basically what we are dealing with. And yeah, from a background perspective, I was born and raised in Zimbabwe, and I'm based in the Netherlands now. And I'm part of this conversation because we just recently hired our own CTO, with Josh in the last 6 months. And yeah, it's been such a joy. And yeah, I would really love to share the experience in having done that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, all three of you. Yeah, lovely. And I've put all of their LinkedIn links are in the chat, so anyone can sort of join in and follow them and connect. And it's now time to